Dracarys!
Milly Alcock won everybody's hearts with her performance on House of the Dragon. She was so good that people were super sad to see her leave after the 5th episode, as the show jumped forward a few years. But despite a stellar run, it turns out that the young actress is done playing fantasy roles, which is exactly what we're talking about in today's video. Let's get into it. First up, Alcock doesn't want any more fantasy roles. There's no doubt that this show brought Milly into the mainstream, but she's ready to leave it all behind and move forward. She did a perfect job of portraying young Rhaenyra Targaryen. In fact, she laid the groundwork for Emma Darcy to follow in the later episodes, as she showed us the best and the worst of the princess. Her scenes with King Viserys are some of the show's absolute best. We can't get enough. But in a recent interview with the Herald Sun, the 22-year-old star shared that she didn't want any more fantasy roles, at least for the near future. She said that she didn't want to do anything like that again, cause she'd already done it, and she didn't need to go through all of it again. Well, it makes sense too. It'd be near impossible for her to find a show as big as this anyway, so might as well do something else that she's interested in. Up next, Alcock isn't in any kind of rush. After House of the Dragon, Milly isn't too worried about booking new roles. The Aussie actress stated that she didn't want to quickly jump into anything else right now. She expressed that she would rather work a lot and wait around for a project that she's proud of and she's super passionate about. She revealed that when you sign on to a project, you have to prepare yourself to talk about it for the next year of your life. So she wanted to make sure that she was on something that she really adored. Alcock said that she was waiting for that project to come along and surprise her. If you ask us, that's the perfect strategy, and we can't wait to see what she does next. Following this, the show wouldn't have been the same without Alcock. There's no doubt that people will always remember that House of the Dragon made Milly, but we'd argue that the opposite was true as well. After the way Game of Thrones ended, everybody was skeptical about watching another show set in this world, but from the very first minute, the audience knew they were in for something special, and that's largely thanks to Alcock. The prequel is about Rhaenyra's struggle to sit on the Iron Throne, and Milly was able to capture the complexities associated with her character perfectly. Months ago, the actress mentioned that she was surprised to see how big her role was in the show, but the fans needed it to fall in love with her character and the series. She portrayed all the important relationships in the princess's life in a phenomenal manner, from her broken friendship with Alicent to her confusing relationship with Daemon. So all things considered, thank you to House of the Dragon for Milly, but also thank you to Milly for House of the Dragon. Lastly, how's Alcock finding fame? Imagine going from being almost unknown to one of the most popular celebrities in the whole world. It would be a difficult adjustment for anybody. Of course, it was super hard for Milly to get used to as well. The Aussie opened up about her experience with fame and called it weird and incredibly difficult, especially considering that it all happened overnight. She said that she was trying to not look at it and not to engage with it, as it didn't benefit her. The actress said that it made her very anxious, seeing her face constantly, and nobody should have to do that. She called it very straining and compared it to opening a Pandora's box while she was just staring at it through the glass. It makes perfect sense for Alcock to feel like this. After all, it sounds super overwhelming, and she's just 22 years old, but we have to say she's handling it like a champ. Now let's talk about 10 actors who hate the roles that made them famous, starting with Penn Badgley and Joe Goldberg. Wait, Goldberg's literally a stalker. Shouldn't he hate him? We'd also argue that it was Gossip Girl that made Penn world famous, but he isn't a big fan of his character on You. He has said on multiple occasions that his character was a terrible person, and he didn't approve of anything he did. That being said, he doesn't mind playing the role at all. Up next, Blake Lively as Serena Vanderwoodson. Speaking of Gossip Girl, this one-of-a-kind broke our hearts. Blake shared that playing Serena was personally compromising for her, as she wanted to put a better message out there, not what a mess her character was. She has also stated that she was often worried that people would assume that she was like her character, and that wasn't something she was proud of. Well, Serena did do some very questionable things, but hey, we all love her just the same. Coming up, Robert Pattinson on Edward Cullen. Well, we all knew about this one, didn't we? Pattinson has pointed pointed out on numerous occasions how much he despised his character in the Twilight Saga. And we don't get it at all. We all grew up with Edward, didn't we? But Robert doesn't think about him too fondly. He expressed that the more he read about his character, the more he hated him. He also pointed out that the vampire was a 108-year-old virgin, so clearly he had some issues. Moving on, Kate Winslet as Rose. We're not too happy about this one either. Winslet doesn't really hate Titanic or her character in it, but she's super unhappy with herself in the hit film. She said that she couldn't even watch it, as with every scene she'd question her acting. She couldn't even hear her talk, as she thought her American accent was horrible. Not to mention Zac Efron as Troy Bolton. We're not done breaking your hearts just yet. Not even Efron can deny that High School Musical shaped his entire career, but that doesn't mean he thinks back on it too fondly. He shared that he still sometimes wants to kick his character's ass. Zac admitted that Bolton did some good things, but he always remained that high school kid. Next, Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia. Again, the Star Wars universe made Fisher's career, but she didn't love it all. In fact, all the fame that came along with playing such an iconic character for so many films ended up being super overwhelming for the late actress. She once commented that she wishes she had turned down the role, cause after she got really famous, all she did was wait for the end. What's more, Marlon Brando as Stanley Kowalski. Nobody can deny that A Streetcar Named Desire is a great film, but Brando hated Kowalski. We don't blame him either. His character was an abusive drunk, and he was only romanticized by the media cause he looked good. In his autobiography, the actor called Stanley a Neanderthal and admitted that he despised him and the sex symbol status that it gave him. Following this, Katherine Heigl on Allison Scott. Heigl played a woman who got pregnant after a one-night stand, and the actress felt like her role and the movie were a little sexist. She said it painted women as humorless and uptight shrews, while men were lovable and goofy. The actress expressed that she didn't completely hate the film, but she didn't like herself in it. She asked, "Why is this how you're portraying women?" Hey, we get it. We're always ready for better representation. Up next, Jason Segel as Marshall Erickson. He might be the one person in the world to hate Marshall. He was simply too adorable, but Segel didn't really like his character. He shared that he felt like he didn't have too much to offer as Erickson. Segel also commented, "When your idol is Peter Sellers, playing one character for 8 years isn't what you're trying to do." So he was never fully happy with his character, but he admitted that it was the greatest problem in the world to have. Last but not least, Halle Berry as Catwoman. We're not too happy about this, but it might be the one character on this list that both fans and the actor are in agreement with.
Amateurs. Steal all these beautiful things. Perfect idea.
After all, Berry thought she deserved the Golden Raspberry Award given to her for the Worst Actress for Catwoman all those years ago. She accepted it and stated that she wanted to thank Warner Brothers for giving her the opportunity to be a part of this terrible film. She said this is what she needed, going from the top to the very bottom. That speech lives in film history forever, but we'd argue Halle stays winning even today. And that's a wrap for this video. Do you think Milly Alcock should do more fantasy roles? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Goodbye, and see you in the next one.